The morning my marriage cracked open like a dropped eggshell, I sat at Robert's laptop. The fans low were the only sound in our quiet bedroom. An email pinged a family BBQ Columbus reminder with a photo attached. Him, arm around a smiling woman, two little boys with his dimples clinging to his jeans, a welcome home banner strung across a porch I'd never seen. The Times, his Ohio sales trip last month, my breath caught, fingers freezing on the mouse, the room's stale coffee scent turning bitter in my nose. 22 years of till death do us part, and this, not a fling, a full life wife, kids, mortgage built on lies I'd helped pay for with my trust. If you're here for Nana Hard stories, thank you. Your listening heart makes the telling bearable. New, subscribe and bell it. We share these raw truths like warm bread at the table. Now, let's step back gentle. Life with Robert was the comfortable groove I'd settled into, like the worn groove in our kitchen table from years of elbows leaning in for stories. We met at 22, Georgia Church picnic hazy, with okra smoke and laughter. He flipped burgers, drawl easy, sliding me a plate of ribs, prettier than the sunset. Clara wed under my folks' oak 6 months later, wildflowers in my curls, his vows a hot breath, my anchor through every gale. Bungalow first creaks alive with us, his hammer thuds echoing dusk. Sawdust swirling lamplight, Patsy Cline crooning as sheets tangled floor nights, hands tracing eternities. Kids, Tommy, 98, whale slicing rain, Emily 00 dimples fierce in starlight. Suburbs with teens, bay window, maple yard, mornings percolator gurgle, coffee steam fog bite, lunches, PB&J crustless apple fans, notes, moonbound love, evenings, screen door slap, grass need chaos, burgers grease popping under tree, forks clinked soccer bends, purple portraits Robert's yarns low hook, fingers salad brushing spark, weekends sanctuary, kids, sisters, cinnamon house, lake drives wind whipped, stand by me off-key, picnics, mustard eggs sharp, head wave lapped, paperbacks read, forever, salt, dash, kissed, travel mounted suitcase, rumble goodbyes, porch mug missed waves, phase, I told myself, Okenker Robert, homebound, till trips, shadowed unknown, roads. The first cracks didn't show all at once, they crept in like fog rolling off the Tennessee River, on cool mornings, damp and disorienting, making you question if the sun would ever burn it off. It started small, about 6 months before that email shattered everything, with Robert's trips stretching longer, his suitcase wheels rumbling over the driveway not at dawn, but deep into the velvet of night. I'd stand at the window, curtains parted just enough to catch the taillights of his company, sedan fading down the cul-de-sac, the engine's low growl fading into the chorus of crickets and distant highway hum. Big account in Ohio this week might run over, he'd say, pecking my cheek with lips that tasted of hurried mints. His cologne, that woody sandalwood blend, I'd gifted him for our 10th anniversary, clinging a beat too strong, like he was masking something underneath. I'd nod, forcing a smile that tugged at my mouth like an ill-fitting hem, and watch him go, the house settling into silence that pressed against my ears like cotton wool. Mornings after, the kitchen felt off-kilter, the percolators gurgled too loud in the empty space, coffee steaming up the window, where Emily's old drawings, still yellowed on the fridge, stick figure families holding hands under lopsided suns. Tommy was off at college by then, calling Sundays with updates on engineering labs that smelled of solder and ozone, his voice tinny through the phone speaker. Emily, 18 and fierce with her art school applications, would breeze through for breakfast, backpack slung over one shoulder, the scent of her vanilla shampoo mixing with the bacon. I'd fry crisp because she liked it that way. Dad's trips are getting weird, Mom, she'd say one Tuesday, fork spearing a strip, grease glistening on the tines. He texted me a pic from Cincinnati. Last night, looks like a park with kids playing. Thought he was in meetings. Her eyes, sharp as Robert's when she focused, flicked to mine, waiting for the reassurance I always gave. I waved it off, wiping my hands on a dish towel embroidered with sunflowers, a thrift find from our early days, threads fraying at the edges like my doubts. Probably a client family event, honey, salesman schmooze everywhere, but the words stuck in my throat, dry as unbuttered toast. And later, as I loaded the dishwasher plates clinking soft against the rack, suds popping like tiny regrets, I'd replay the photo in my mind. Kids, Robert hated kid events, too chaotic, he'd grumble after company picnic, loosening his tie with a sigh, tie silk whispering against his collar. Yet there he was, grinning in that shot, arm raised in a wave, the background blurred with swings creaking and laughter carrying on the wind. Doubts settled heavier over the weeks. A low ache in my chest like the prelude to rain, joints stiffening before the storm hit. His calls grew shorter, voices muffled by road noise or hotel AC hums. Love you. Clara talk soon clipped at the end like a loose wire. Gifts trickled and odd. A scarf from Pittsburgh, cashmere soft as a whisper but sized wrong for me, more like something for a slimmer neck. A keychain from Detroit, engraved with initials R and L that I turned over in my palm under the kitchen light. Bulb buzzing faint, wondering who L could be. Souvenir from the team, he'd explain, over dinner. Fork scraping his plate clean of pot roast I'd slow cooked all afternoon, the savory juices soaking into the mashed potatoes like blood into soil. I'd nod again, chewing slow, the meat tender but tasting of ash on my tongue, while Emily eyed us from across the table. Her sketchpad opened two half-formed faces that looked too much like strained smiles. Nights alone stretched long, the bed vast and cool, sheets whispering against my legs as I shifted. Robert's pillow indented but empty, carrying only the ghost of his aftershave. I'd rise for water, pads of my feet silent on the cool tile, the fridge light blooming yellow when I opened it, casting my shadow tall and solitary. One such midnight, thumbing through mail on the counter bills in neat stacks, junk flyers fluttering like startled birds, I spotted it. A credit card statement slipped from his briefcase, left open like an invitation to trespass. The charges jumped out: hotels in Columbus, not Cincinnati. A jewelry store in Knoxville with a $400 line for earrings, though I'd mentioned wanting simple studs, nothing flashy. Gas receipts strung across Ohio like breadcrumbs, far more than a straight shot conference run. My finger traced the ink, black and unyielding, heart-thumping, a rhythm that drowned the clock's tick from the hall. I folded it back, precise as folding a flag at a veteran's service, and slid it into his drawer amid socks paired neat. The drawer runner, whispering shut, no, not yet. The words lodged like thorns, pricking but not drawing blood. What if it was nothing? A mistake in the haze of his exhaustion. Robert, my Robert, the man who'd held my hand through Emily's croup nights, steam from the humidifier curling like smoke signals in the dim nursery, his voice low and soothing over her coughs, the one who'd surprised me with weekend getaways to the gravel crunching under tires as we wound up the mountain, windows fogged with our breath, his hand on my knee, steady as the road. Doubt was a thief, stealing sleep in snippets, leaving me hollow-eyed at the mirror, lines deepening around my mouth like rivers carving canyons. Emily noticed, cornering me one afternoon in the laundry room, the dryer tumbling clothes with a rhythmic thump, warm cotton scent thick in the air. Mom, you're fading. Is it Dad's ghosting? He barely texts anymore. I smoothed a towel, fabric soft under my palms, avoiding her gaze in the reflection of the machine's glass door. Just tired, love. Work's piling up with report cards. A lie, thin as the sheet I folded next. But it bought time, the kind you cling to when the ground feels unsteady underfoot. Evenings, I'd busy myself in the garden, knees sinking into damp soil, gravel biting earth as I planted marigolds, their petals bright as warnings, dirt caking under my nails like evidence I couldn't wash away. Robert's calls came sporadic, voice edged with fatigue. Miss you. Clara home Friday. But Fridays blurred to Saturdays. Excuses layering like varnish over wood. Deal fell through, stuck till Monday. I'd hang up, phone warm against my ear, and stare at the wall where our wedding photo hung. Frames tilted slightly from when Tommy bumped it horsing around. Robert's arm around me, both of us young and smiles wide as the future we'd imagined. The fog thickened, suspicions coiling tight in my gut like the twist of a dish rag wrung too hard. A forgotten receipt in his jacket pocket. Dinner for 3 at a Columbus bistro. Entrees priced for family, not solo salesman. His phone, charging on the counter, buzzing with texts I glimpsed sideways. Miss my boys home soon. Love LL. The initial burned, a brand on my thoughts. But I turned away, pouring tea whose steam blurred my vision. Chamomile soothing but not salving. Silence was my armor then, heavy as chainmail, chafing with every breath. What proof did I have, really? Whispers of wind through cracks, not gales tearing the roof. Yet the house felt watchful, floorboards creaking judgments under my steps, the mantel clocks tick a countdown to truths I wasn't ready to face. Emily's questions lingered too, her hugs tighter, scented with her vanilla, shampoo and worry. We're okay, Mom, she'd say, but her eyes searched mine, mirrors reflecting the doubt I hid. Little by little, The path I'd walked so sure-footed now sloped strange, shadows lengthening where light used to pool. I told myself it was paranoia, the loneliness of empty nests gnawing at edges. But deep down, a voice whispered steady as Robert's old promises. Dig, Clara, before the fog swallows you whole. The fog didn't lift on it, parted with a gust. I summoned one rainy Thursday, the kind of downpour that drummed relentless on the roof like fingers tapping impatience. Robert was in Louisville, or so his voicemail crackled that morning, voice tinny and rushed over the patter of drops on the line. Conference running, late be home, Sunday, love you. I hung up, phone heavy in my palm, and moved to his briefcase on the hall table, leather scuffed from miles of airports and hotel lobbies, zipper teeth glinting wet under the foyer light. My heart hammered a warning, but curiosity was a sharper blade, slicing through the hesitation as I tugged it open, papers rustling like dry leaves in wind. Inside, amid crumpled receipts and dog-eared contracts, lay a manila envelope, sealed with a clasp that gave way with a soft snap. My fingers, chilled from the draft seeping under the door, pulled out a stack of documents, mortgage statements, title deeds, all stamped with Knox County, Tennessee. The address jumped out, 47 Oak Ridge Lane, Columbus, not a hotel, but a home. Bought 2 years back, monthly payments deducted from our joint account, disguised as business expenses. My breath fogged the page as I scanned names, Robert Hargrove and Lisa Hargrove, wife, the word blurred, ink swimming like tears I hadn't shed yet. Flipped pages revealed more. Birth certificates for Ethan, age 4, and Noah, age 2. Hargrove surnames, Robert listed as father, hospital in Columbus. Wedding certificate, dated 5 years ago. A small ceremony in Clark County, Ohio. Witnesses, strangers, signatures, looping, elegant. The room tilted. Rain streaking the window like mascara runs, the house groaning under the storm's weight as if sharing my collapse. I sank to the floor, back against the wall, papers fanning around me like fall in autumn, the carpet rough against my palms. Lisa, Ethan, Noah, names that should have been ours, echoes of the family we'd sketched in those early bungalow nights, now stolen and rebuilt across state lines. How many conferences had been school plays, tiny hands in his applause mingling with his laughter. The thought clawed, sharp as thorns, drawing blood from the image of him. Robert, kissing scraped knees, reading bedtime stories with voices that once lulled Tommy to sleep. Betrayal wasn't abstract, it was visceral. A knife twisting in the gut, the metallic tang of blood in my mouth from biting my lip too hard. I gathered the papers, hands shaking so the edges crinkled, and tucked them back, envelope sealed as if untouched, but the seal was broken in me, irreparable. A dam cracked, letting floodwaters rage. That night, sleep evaded, bed a battlefield of rumpled sheets, thunder rumbling distant like Robert's lies gathering storm. Dawn broke gray, coffee forgotten on the counter, its surface skinned over cold as my resolve hardened. Emily found me at the table, eyes red, stirring sugar into a mug that stayed untouched. Mom, you look like you saw a ghost. Her chair scraped as she sat, hand on mine, cool and steady. Vanilla sent a faint comfort. I couldn't hold it. Words spilled, halting. Papers spread like evidence in a trial. Her gasp slicing the quiet sharper than the rain's patter. That bastard, she whispered, voice cracking like thin ice. Fingers tracing the deeds, seal, gold, embossed, mocking. How long, Mom? The trips, it's been years. We sat there, heads bent close, the kitchen clock ticking accusations, her tears wetting the birth certificates like baptism reversed. Tommy called mid-morning, voice bright from dorm life, but Emily patched him in, her words tumbling. Dad's got another family, Tom, real, with kids. Silence stretched, then his curse, low and broken, the line humming with shared shock. We're coming home, Mom. Tonight. The afternoon blurred in a haze of calls. Lawyer first, a friend from church with a practice in family law. His voice gravelly over speaker. Gather everything. Clara, emails, statements. Build the case. Quiet. I did. Laptop open on the dining table, wood scarred from family meals now tainted. Cursor blinking as I logged into our joint email. Password Oak Vows 92, the year we renewed under that Georgia tree. Folders unfolded like secrets unearthed. L and boys, threads, stretching back years. Plans for birthdays. Miss Huey's game at 4. Photos attached of ball fields. Bleachers half empty, but for one proud figure in a cap. My chest tightened. Breaths shallow as I scrolled. Each click a stab. Vacation bookings to Florida beaches we'd dreamed of, now spent with them. Anniversary cards scanned, to my heart. L 15 years strong. Dated the same week he'd gifted me that ill-sized scarf. By evening, the kids arrived. Tires hissing on wet pavement. Hugs fierce in the doorway. Rain dripping from their coats, pooling on the mat. Tommy's arms crushed. His cologne sharp and new. Emily's sobs muffled in my shoulder. Her curls damp against my cheek. We huddled in the living room. Fire crackling low in the hearth log snapping. Like bones breaking the papers arrayed on the coffee table like a war map. He lied to all of us, Tommy said. Voice, thick fist clenched on his knee. Jeans faded from campus jeans. Emily paced, phone in hand. Should I text him? Blow it up now. But I shook my head. Tea steaming untouched in my lap. Herbal calm mocking the chaos. Not yet. We planned. He doesn't get the luxury of surprise. Night deepened. Storm easing to drizzle, tapping the panes like hesitant knocks. The three of us tangled on the sofa under the quilt. I'd pieced from baby blankets Tommy's blue squares, Emily's pink florals now, a shield against the cold truth. Stories surfaced in whispers. Robert's late calls, Tommy remembered from high school, voice low and loving in the hall. Emily's sixth sense from weird gifts at Christmas, a toy truck that felt too personal. Laughter edged in, bitter as dark chocolate. Remember his allergy to kids' events. Hypocrite, but under it, grief wove tight. A tapestry of what-ifs. What if I'd asked sooner? What if the trips were the lie, not the love? Sunday came heavy, sky bruised purple. Robert's key turning in the lock like a verdict delivered. He stepped in, suitcase thumping down, face lined with road where eyes lighting at the sight of Uzme on the couch. Kids flanking like sentinels. Family reunion. Missed you all. His hug enveloped me. Familiar cedar cologne, now cloying, arms strong but hollow. We sat, tea poured steaming, cups clinking on saucers as Emily slid the folder across. Explain this. Dad, his color drained. Papers fanning under fluorescent kitchen light. The fridge humming judgment. Clara, it's not what but Tommy cut in. Voice steel. It's exactly what. A wife, kids. How? Dad. The confrontation unfolded slow, cinematic in its rawness. Robert's chair scraping back, hands raking, hair graying at temples, words stumbling. It started as a mistake, a night in Columbus after a bad deal. Lisa, she understood the road, the loneliness. One thing led to vows, then Ethan. Noah, I never meant to hurt you. Lies layered, excuses peeling like old wallpaper. The money, to keep peace. I love you all. My voice emerged.com. A river under ice. Love splits, builds houses on our dime while we wait. Tears tracked his cheeks, salt glistening, but his eyes darted to the door. To escape, not to us. The family he'd fractured. Emily's sob broke the air. Tommy's fist on table thudding like gavel. But I held steady, papers clutched like lifeline. You're done here, Robert. Pack what's yours, leave the rest. He rose, shoulders slumping. Rain resuming outside, like applause for the end. Door clicked shut. Behind him, final as a coffin lid, the house exhaling long-held breath. We three clung then, sobs mingling, quilt wrapping us tight, thunder rolling distant as his lies. Discovery wasn't explosion, it was implosion. Walls caving inward, leaving rubble to sift, but in the debris, strength stirred, faint as dawn through storm clouds. The door's click echoed in my chest long after Robert left, a hollow finality that vibrated through the floorboards, like the house itself sighing relief. Rain slicked the windows, streaks blurring the porch light into halos, while inside, the air hung thick, with the scent of cooling tea and unspoken fury chamomile gone bitter, like the vows we'd steeped our lives in. I stood frozen in the kitchen, hands gripping the counter's edge. Formica, cool and unyielding under my palms, knuckles white as the china cups we'd shattered in that moment of truth. Emily hovered near, her breath coming in shallow hitches, fingers twisting the hem of her sweater, wool fraying slightly where she'd picked at it during his excuses. Tommy paced the linoleum, boots thudding, soft but insistent, his shadow stretching long under the pendant light, swinging faint like a pendulum counting costs. What now, Mom? Emily's voice broke the quiet, small and raw, her eyes swollen from tears searching mine for the map I'd always provided. I pulled her close, her head tucking under my chin, curls tickling my neck, the vanilla shampoo, a faint anchor in the storm. Now, we breathe, love. Then we build the bridge out. But inside, reaction roiled, a tidal wave crashing against ribs, grief twisting with rage like vines choking an oak. How dare he, the man who'd held me through miscarriages, his hand steady on my belly as doctors murmured, try again. Now, architect of this fracture. Inner whispers, ward, scream, collapse, or rise. steel forged in the fire he'd lit. Practicality surfaced first. A lifeline thrown by years of mothering through fevers and finals. Tommy, call Aunt June, tell her, we need her. No details yet. He nodded. Phone already to his ear, voice steady as he relayed family emergency. The lines hum a lifeline to my sister's gravel driveway, her voice crackling warm. On my way, Clara packing pie, Emily and I moved to the living room, quilt dragged from the basket. It's Pachestami's blues, her pinks wrapping us as we sat, knees touching, the fire's embers popping soft like distant gunfire. He looked broken, she murmured, tracing a seam. Does that make it hurt less? I shook my head, throat tight, the weight of 22 years pressing like a stone on my chest. No, honey, but it makes us stronger. June arrived an hour later, headlights cutting the downpour, her station wagon crunching gravel wet. She bustled in with umbrellas, dripping in a foil-wrapped apple pie, steaming faint cinnamon, her hug enveloping like flour-dusted arms from childhood kitchens. Spill it, girl, looks like you've seen the devil himself. Over pie slices crumbling, flaky on plates, words poured, papers passed hand to hand. June's fork pausing midair, her gasp sharp as knife on wet. That no good. Oh, Clara. Her hand covered mine, calluses from garden gloves, rough but reassuring, eyes narrowing over her glasses. Lawyer, tomorrow, and us. We armor up. Sleep that night was fit, bed vast without his weight, sheets cool as betrayal's touch, dreams fragmented, Robert's laugh echoing in empty rooms, children's faces blurring between ours and theirs, dawn filtered gray through blinds, birdsong mocking with cheerful trills, and I rose, feet padding to the kitchen where coffee brewed automatic, its drip a metronome to my resolve. The lawyer's office was a half-hour drive, rain-slick roads, gleaming under wipers, swish, Emily beside me silent, her hand in mine over the gearshift, Mr. Ellis gray suit, voice like polished oak, spread documents on his desk, leather blotter creaking, the room smelling of old books and lemon polish. Bigamy's criminal, Clara up to 5 years, but civil, divorce, asset split, child support if those boys qualify. Gather financials, every trip receipt, joint account pull, back home. Action unfurled like a plan sketched on napkins. Tommy diving into bank logs on his laptop, screen glow casting blue on his face, clicks methodical as he traced expenses to Columbus florists, toy stores, pediatricians, thousands, mom over years. Emily scoured emails, her nails tapping keys furious. Folders L and boys yielding a timeline. Wedding 19, Ethan 20. Noah 22 milestones marked with love you notes. I'd mistaken for clients. Rage bubbled then, hot as stove burner, but I channeled it, calling the bankvoice.com over hold music's tinny jazz freezing joint assets. The reps, ma'am, hesitant as ice cracking. Fraud suspicion, I said, pen scratching notes on a pad, ink bleeding slightly from damp air. Confrontation brewed, not with Robert, but Lisa, the other wife. Her existence a mirror cracking my reflection. A reverse search on the deed's address yielded a Facebook profile, public and unguarded. Lisa Hargrove, smiling in profile pic with Ethan on her hip, Noah at her feet. Backyard swings and back. Messages sent tentative. We need to talk. Coffee, neutral ground, Chattanooga diner. Friday, noon. Her reply came swift, cursor blinking shock. Who is this? Robert. Truth typed bare. Attachment the wedding set scan. Dots danced minutes. Then, oh God, the diner. I'll be there. Friday dawned crisp. Autumn leaves skittering across parking lots like fleeing secrets. The diner's neon open buzzing faint. I arrived early. Booth vinyl cracking under me. Coffee, black and steaming. Its bitterness grounding as silverware clinked around forks on plates. Low chatter of truckers over eggs. Lisa entered hesitant, coat clutched tight, mid-30s, with dark hair pulled back, eyes shadowed like mine, a simple gold band glinting on her finger, the twin of mine, bought from the same catalog, years apart. She slid in opposite. The days after Robert's diner, departure blurred into a whirlwind of whispers and fallout, the kind that spreads through a small town like pollen on spring wind, soft at first, then clogging every conversation, every glance at the grocery checkout. Word leaked not from us, but from the cracks he'd left. A mutual friend spotting his car parked overnight at a Columbus motel, tipped off by a coworker who'd seen the mortgage papers during a team audit. By midweek, my phone buzzed constant, texts lighting the screen like fireflies in dusk. Clara heard about Robert from church ladies, their emojis prayer hands, shocked faces, clumsy attempts at comfort, calls from neighbors, voices hushed over extension cords, saw him packing boxes. Tuesday looked like hell warmed over. The house, once a haven of maple-scented suppers, now felt exposed. Windows like eyes watching the cul-de-sac for his return. The mailbox stuffed with stares disguised as junk mail. Emily bore the brunt first. Her art class at community college turning into a minefield of sidelong looks and sorry not sorry as she came home Thursday. Backpack thudding to the floor in the entry. Face flushed from more than the October chill. Coat shedding rain like tears. They know, Mom. The whole studio. Professor Hale pulled me aside after critique, voice all soft like I'm glass. Family troubles. Take time, if needed. Her laugh was brittle, cracking, as she shrugged it off. But her hands trembled, peeling an orange in the kitchen. Citrus zest sharp in the air. Segments tearing wet under nails. One girl, Sarah, from my figure drawing group hugged me. Whispered, my dad did the same. You'll rise. But the whispers. Slut's husband. How'd she not know? I pulled her into the hug, her shoulders rigid under my arms, the scent of charcoal pencils clinging to her sweater like accusations. Let M whisper. M truths, louder than gossip. It'll settle like dust after a storm. Tommy faced it at work, his engineering firm, a buzz of water cooler confessions, the break room smelling of burnt microwave popcorn and stale coffee, as colleagues clapped his back too hard. Man, your old man's a piece of work, saw the post on Nextdoor. Someone leaked the deeds. He related over dinner that night, fork pushing peas around his plate, green marbles rolling like escaped marbles from Emily's childhood games. The app had exploded. Anonymous threads titled Local Salesman Exposed Bowl Life, with blurred photos of court filings, comments piling like autumn leaves. Karma's a bitch, poor wife, blindsided, a few venomous she must have known. Tommy's jaw clenched, knife scraping, ceramic loud, but his eyes met mine across the table. Steady filed the restraining order today, Mom, he calls. It pings the cups. Justice flickered there, cold as the fridge's hum when he grabbed beers, cans hissing open like released pressure. The community response rippled wider. Church on Sunday, a gauntlet of embraces and averted eyes, the sanctuary smelling of polished pews and hymn, organ notes swelling as we filed in, me flanked by kids. June's hand firm on my elbow. Pastor Reynolds paused mid-sermon on truth shall set you free, his gaze lingering warm, then announced post-service coffee hour for those needing prayer. The fellowship hall filled with clatter china cups, rattling on saucers, coffee urn gurgling, hot women clustering around me like hens to feed, their perfumes mingling floral and heavy. Clara, honey, we had no idea. Albert always seemed so solid. Mrs. Ellis, the lawyer's wife, squeezed my arm, her rings cool against skin. His served papers hit him yesterday. Bigamy charge pending. DA's interested. Whispers wove through. Lisa sighed, leaking to her Facebook gone private overnight, but screenshots circulating. She thought he was widowed, turning sympathy her way, a shared victimhood that softened the sting for me. Karma's hand showed clearest at the firm Robert's boss called Monday, voice gruff over speaker in Ellis's office. Leather chairs creaking as we sat, caught the discrepancies in expense reports, fired him effective immediately. Back pay garnished for restitution. The words landed solid, a Gavel's echo. My fingers, drumming the armrest, would smooth from years of waiting rooms. Public consequence wasn't vengeance's roar, but a slow unraveling. His truck repossessed Tuesday, towed from the street with a clang that woke the block. Neighbors peeking through blinds like curtains rising on a tragedy. Friends divided. Some ghosted texts unread, their silence a cut deeper than words. Others rallied, casserole brigade at the door, lasagna bubbling cheese, green bean bakes, crisp top June orchestrating, eat, Clara strengths in the stomach first. Robert tried reaching through cracks, voicemails, pleading on Tommy's blocked line. Son, let me explain, for the family. Voice cracking like dry timber, but deleted unheard. A letter slipped under the door Wednesday, envelope plain, handwriting shaky. Clara, I lost my way. The road took me. Forgive, for the kids. I read it by lamplight. Paper crinkling soft, words blurring under tears that fell hot. Spotting ink, burned it in the sink. Match flaring blue, ash swirling down drain with dish soap suds. Public eyes watched his fallen employment line. Rumors. Columbus eviction notice leaked online. Lisa's status update. Single mom now blessed. Justice knots with sword. But erosion, washing lies to reveal bedrock. Through it, clarity dawned gradual, like sun-piercing clouds. The stairs weren't pity alone, but mirrors reflecting resilience I'd forgotten. At book club Thursday, women gathered porchside, chairs scraping deck wood, wine glasses stem slim in hands. Merlot's tart berry on tongues as stories swapped, affairs unearthed, secrets buried. You confronted Boff, gasped Linda, eyes wide over her rim. Guts, Clara I'd have crumbled, nods rippled, hands patting knees. The evening breeze carrying leaf scent and solidarity. Consequence spread the truth, not as weapon, but witness our family's fracture mending in public gaze. Scars visible but stories shared. By week's end, the whirlwind eased to eddy, rain pools drying in the drive, sun slanting gold through windows. Robert's shadow lingered, bank alerts for frozen cards, lawyer emails tallying debts, but the house breathed freer. Kids' laughter tentative, but returning over pizza boxes, grease spotted on the coffee table. Public fallout stripped him bare, but clothed us in communal armor. Karma's quiet nod, lies unravel, truth endures. The public storm subsided as autumn deepened, leaves carpeting the yard in crimson and gold, crunching underfoot like brittle memories finely ground down. Robert's unraveling became town legend, whispered at gas pumps and beauty parlors. But the glare shifted from us to him, couch surfing at a cousin's in Knoxville. His once steady frame, thinning in photos glimpsed on social media, eyes hollowed like sockets in a jack-o'-lantern. The divorce finalized in early November, court date crisp with wood smoke from neighborhood chimneys. The judge's gavel a sharp crack echoing off paneled walls, his voice gravel over papers. Assets divided, alimony ordered big, restitution to Mrs. Hargrove. I walked out into sunlight slanting low, Emily's arm linked in mine, Tommy trailing with a nod of quiet triumph, the air biting crisp with promise of frost. Healing didn't rush in like a flood, it seeped, slow as sap from a tapped maple, sweetening the scars over time. First came the house, no longer haunted but reclaimed. I painted the kitchen, but roller whispering over walls, the scent of fresh latex, mingling with vinegar from scrubbing cabinets, clean of his ghost scents. Emily helped, her laughter bubbling as we splattered drops on drop cloths. Look, Mom, abstract art. Tommy hauled in new shelves for my watercolors, tools clanging in the garage, sweat beating his brow as he measured twice, cut once. The saws whined, a symphony of new beginnings. Evenings, we'd gathered there, stove simmering soup scarlet, ginger for Tommy's chill from site visits, tomato basil thick with basil from the windowsill, pots bowl steaming on the table, steam curling like released sighs. Talk turned tentative, then free. Miss the old dad sometimes, Emily admitted one night. Spoon stirring circles, broth swirling, but this us, stronger weave. I nodded, throat tight, the moral crystallizing quiet. Betrayal breaks, but choice men's love, not given, but grown from within. Therapy started mid-month, a small office downtown with sage-scented candles flickering on the side table. The therapist's voice soft as worn denim. Grief's a garden, Clarapole weeds. Plant what blooms. Sessions peeled layers, words tumbling in the safe hush, rage at his weakness. The roads, siren call he'd chased, sorrow for the years half-lived, birthdays toasted solo with cake crumbling dry, shame's whisper, should I have seen, but she guided, gentle. Journal pages filling with ingratitude lists, scrawled in mornings, coffee mug, ring staining the paper, Emily's smile at breakfast. Tommy's call from the job site, quiet porch, swing creek. Strength bloomed there, roots delving deep, forgiveness not for him, but for me, releasing the anchor of why to float lighter. Lisa and I met once more post at that same diner booth, vinyl mended with duct tape since our first sit-down, coffee pot glugging hot as we slid in. She looked lighter, hair loose, boys' photos on her phone. Ethan gap-tooth grin at soccer, Noah finger painting chaos, custody shared, Robert's paying, but spotty, she said, voice edged with exhaustion but eyes clear. Therapy for them. Two learning daddy has two homes. We talked not accusations, but alliance forged in fire. Shared support groups online, tips on co-parenting apps that pinged schedules like neutral flags. He called me last week, begging back, she confessed, napkin folding, origami crane, told him no, we're done being his halves. Laughter shared then, tentative over pie wedges, flaky, apple filling warm, a bridge not rebuilt, but acknowledged. Two women rising from the same rubble, the kids healed in ripples. Emily's art bloomed fierce, canvases splashed with fractured mirrors and mended cracks. Her first gallery show in spring, drawing crowds who murmured, raw power. Tommy proposed to his college sweetheart that Christmas, ring simple silver. Down on one knee by the lake we'd picnicked, like you taught me. Mom steady through storms. Their wedding was ours backyard under the maple, wildflowers nodding, my toast glasses clinking, two truths that free, loves that stay. Robert attended distant, suit rumpled, eyes averted at the cake, but he nodded when Tommy clasped his shoulder. For you, Dad, but on our terms. Consequences, clarity. He faced his fragments, child support checks arriving irregular but present, therapy mandated for visits, his letters sparse apologies postmarked Columbus. For me, resolution wove through solo steps a road trip in June, top down on the old convertible we'd bought for anniversaries, wind whipping hair, graying at temples, radio crooning I Will Survive as miles unspooled to the Smokies, trails climbed steep, boots gripping dirt paths, scented pine and earth, summit views vast as forgiven skies, breath ragged but lungs full. Therapy evolved, two groups, circle of chairs scraping linoleum, voices overlapping like harmonies. I left too, found myself after morale settled boned. Betrayal teaches discernment, not distrust lives, not blind faith, but eyes wide to worth. I dated once, coffee with a widower from church, his laugh rumbling gentle, but paused, healing's pace my own. No rush to fill voids. By summer's end, the house thrummed renewed, porch swing repainted creamed, chains oiled silent, iced tea beating glasses, as Tommy grilled burgers popping grease, scents mingling with jasmine climbing the rail. Robert's shadow faded, a cloud passed. Our light, self-made, shone steady. Strength wasn't absence of pain, but presence amid it, dignity in the stand, closure in the choice to bloom anew. As those first snowflakes fell like silent confessions that winter, dusting the maples with the fragile white veil, I curled up on the porch swing, the chains groaning soft under my weight, like the house itself was exhaling years of held breath. The cocoa in my hands had cooled to a bittersweet sludge, marshmallows vanished into nothing, much like the promises that once warmed me, but leaving a trace of sweetness in the ache. From the kitchen, Emily's voice lifted in a half-sung lullaby, pots singing along as scones rose golden in the oven, vanilla drifting out on the frosted air, wrapping around me like the hug she didn't know I needed. Tommy's call crackled through the open window, his laugh booming as he teased his fiancée about the hike ahead. Mom's, the trail boss, she have us spotting eagles by noon. Robert, just a yellowed postcard now, shoved deep in a drawer with the other relics. His words, forgive me, smudged by time. His life a dim echo across those stolen miles. Oh, how it hurts still. That double life, not the loss of him, but the theft of trust. The way it hauled the rooms we'd filled with first steps and midnight confessions, leaving echoes that chased me in quiet hours. My heart, dear one, if I could pull you close right now, across this invisible divide, I'd hold you till the trembling stopped, the kind that comes when love turns traitor, when forever crumbles like dry earth under rain. That betrayal didn't just shatter glass. It cracked open a well of strength I never knew ran so deep. A quiet, roaring river that carried me through the nights of why me, to dawns where I whispered, why not me? The lesson, it etched into my soul. Love isn't a fragile vow sealed in rings. It's a fierce tending, day by aching day, weeding out the lies with hands that scar but never surrender, planting seeds of self in soil turned rich by tears. I forgave, not for his wandering feet, but for the young Clara under that Georgia oak, wide-eyed and whole, deserving a forever woven from truth, not threads of deceit. In that release, freedom bloomed, arms flung wide to sunrises. I chased alone, laughter that filled the hollows without his shadow, a heart mended, not perfect, but profoundly mine. Would you have walked that jagged path? My friends stared into the storm's eye. Let the tears carve rivers till they led you home, or gathered the shards closer, praying they'd reassemble. Unload it here in the comments. Your stories are the balm, the bridge, the beautiful mess that makes us kin, healing one raw truth at a time. If Nana Hard Stories stirred the depths of your soul today, please subscribe for more journeys through the thorns to grace. Pour your aching heart into the comments, and share this whisper with someone whose night feels too heavy. Your light, it's the fire that warms us all. Till we gather again, cradle your wounds, gentle you're the bloom after the break, stronger for the bend, with tears and all my love. Nana.